I am. In a way, my dream came true. As a tour guide, I spent most of my time in such magical places, full of history, full of culture. What I think Cretan hospitality is all about? Well, for me, it is the sacred responsibility of sharing the culture and the traditions of our island. To make visitors and how the rich history of this place has shaped the personalities of the locals. To encourage them to visit the museums and cultural events this place offers throughout the year. And to bring them closer to the local people for a genuine cultural experience. When I tell the story of Crete, in a way I also share my own personal connection with my island. So, when my guests leave, apart from Crete, they also take with them a tiny piece of me.
κάστανο θέλει κρασί και το καρύδι μέλι και το καρύδι μέλι. Όπα και το κοπέλι, κοπελιάκι, κοπελιά, κοπελική, κοπελιά, κοπέλι. Βαστούν όσοι δεν αγαπούνε, όσοι δεν αγαπούνε εκεί μου δεν δείχνουν. Χρόνια πέρασαν να λεβέντες για ρωτάκια. Χρόνια πέρασαν να λεβέντες για ρωτάκια. Που χορεύαμε μαζί στην Κρήτη του νεράκια. Και του νεράκια του κεφάλαμάκια. Μπράβο, μπράβο, μπράβο.
The University of Crete is a modern educational and research institution active in a wide range of disciplines and fields of research with international presence, contribution, and recognition. It welcomed its first students in the academic year 1977-1978. The development of favorable conditions for the advancement of research, both within the university and in connection with important research centers and partners, have brought the University of Crete among the best in the world. The University of Crete consists of 5 faculties, with 16 departments covering a wide range of disciplines. The Medical School of the University of Crete has a history of almost 40 years, which is distinguished by significant achievements in higher education, research, and provision of high-quality health services in Crete and the country in general. Its successes are clearly reflected both in the rankings and in the recent accreditation of the undergraduate curriculum by an international committee, during which the school was given an excellent rating. The School of Medicine of the University of Crete aims to benefit from the tradition created by the quality of its academic activity and clinical work, its excellence in research in cutting-edge areas, as well as the connection between research, education, and social health needs. The Department of Physics, since its establishment, has been organized and operates with dedication to high academic goals and principles. The undergraduate physics student has many opportunities to participate in research in contemporary areas of physics, making use of sophisticated research infrastructures. It is closely associated with the Foundation for Research and Technology, HELLAS, the Institute of Electronic Structure and Laser, the Institute of Astrophysics, and the University Publications of Crete, while staff of the Department of Physics support the operation of the Skinnakos Observatory. The Department of Biology of the University of Crete is distinguished by its high-quality infrastructure, internationally renowned scientific staff, and internationally competitive undergraduate and postgraduate programs. The 3 research areas of the department support a multitude of research projects. It collaborates with the Institute of Molecular Biology and Biotechnology, the Hellenic Center for Marine Research, and the Natural History Museum. The Department of Mathematics and Applied Mathematics provides high-quality mathematical education while laying emphasis on personal contact between students and teachers. It proposes 2 contemporary undergraduate programs and 3 postgraduate programs, while at the same time it participates and designs new interdepartmental and interdisciplinary postgraduate studies programs. The department organizes events and lectures and offers services to the wider scientific and productive community. The curriculum of the Department of Computer Science of the University of Crete covers the subjects of hardware, software, computer applications, and theory. At the same time, there is a balanced emphasis on teaching the correct scientific method and fostering an engineering mindset. The department was the first one to propose postgraduate studies in the field of computer science. The vision of the Department of Chemistry has remained constant for 36 years, promoting learning and achieving academic and research excellence. The department conducts research in all fields of chemistry, including materials, drugs, environment, energy, and artificial intelligence. The equipment is state-of-the-art, the staff is carefully selected, and globally competitive. The extroversion of the Department of Chemistry, as shown by the organization of lectures by Nobel Prize winners and important researchers from all over the world, demonstrates its position. The interdisciplinary field of materials science and technology involves the study, design, and discovery of new materials with improved properties that do not exist in nature. Scientists of materials science and technology must have knowledge of physics, chemistry, biology, and engineering. Internationally, the department is ranked among the leading materials departments, contributing significantly to the advancement of the University of Crete in prestigious university rankings in the fields of materials science and general engineering. The mission of the Department of Literature is to promote and advance the sciences related to literature through academic teaching and scholarly research. It provides its graduates with theoretical and applied knowledge of the fields it addresses, as well as values, competencies, and skills that allow them to respond to a variety of professional environments, while consistently sharing the values of humanism. It is characterized by its extroversion, international conferences, summer schools, connection with society, and excelled in the recent accreditation of its undergraduate program. The aim of the Department of History and Archaeology is to teach and research the past of human societies that developed in Greece. However, the history of the origin and evolution of man, the prehistory and history of other European societies, and the peoples of the Eastern Mediterranean are also his research and teaching subjects. The department places particular emphasis on familiarizing students with modern theoretical and methodological approaches in the fields of history, archaeology, and art history. The Department of Philosophy and Social Studies promotes the study of philosophy, with particular emphasis on its connections with the social sciences. The strong research orientation of the department is reflected in its 6 research laboratories: philosophical research and translation, teaching practice and educational research, psychology, social research, as well as the unique in Greece laboratories of bioethics and visual anthropology. The graduates of the department have the potential, over and above education and research, to be employed in other fields, such as in cultural institutions or in the field of books and publishing. The academic character of the Department of Primary Education is defined first of all by the existence of 5 sectors, which treat a variety of subjects and study the phenomenon of education from different scientific perspectives. Each of the 5 sectors has its own research laboratories in the premises of UCRC and in the city of Rethymnon, which allow the connection between theory and practice at undergraduate and postgraduate level. The Department of Preschool Education specializes in teaching and research in the sciences of education, particularly in the fields of preschool education, teacher training, educational evaluation, child development, and teaching methodology. A variety of subjects from the fields of humanities, sciences, social sciences, and arts are added to these fields in order to contribute to the sound and all-around education of the new educators prepared by the department. The Department of Psychology was the first to be established in Greece in 1984. Since its establishment, it has presented significant actions and achievements, and has played a key role in the character of education and research in psychology in our country. The mission of the department is to offer to students from different cultural, social, and educational backgrounds the opportunity to study the science of psychology. Studies in the Department of Sociology aim to train sociologists who will study social life, social relations, and social institutions in a theoretically and methodologically grounded way. The department has 2 research laboratories: Social Analysis and Applied Social Research and the Social Gender Studies Laboratory. The scope of studies and research of the Department of Economics of the University of Crete covers the whole spectrum of economic science, such as microeconomic and macroeconomic analysis, applied economic theory, political economy, as well as the tools of mathematics, statistics, and econometrics. Graduates of the department have excellent employment prospects in the private and public sector, and in areas such as business administration, finance and banking, financial services consulting, etc. The Department of Political Science is an integral part of the Faculty of Social Sciences of the University of Crete. In addition to the basic undergraduate curriculum, it offers a master's degree in political system and public policies, as well as doctoral studies. It focuses on the study of the political phenomenon and political power at local, national, and transnational levels. At the same time, emphasis is placed on the way in which the discourse of power is structured in the field of political philosophy and theory. All undergraduate programs of the University of Crete are accredited by the Hellenic Authority for Higher Education, HAHE, which contributes to their international recognition, supports the mobility of graduates, and increases their employment opportunities in similar jobs. The University of Crete offers the opportunity to continue your studies by participating in high-quality postgraduate studies programs. Most postgraduate studies programs are offered free of charge, and many are interdepartmental or interinstitutional, encouraging an interdisciplinary approach to knowledge and research and exploiting the collaborations of the academic ecosystem in Crete. At the University of Crete, the Erasmus Plus program is constantly progressing and growing internationally based on more than 500 interinstitutional agreements. Erasmus Plus opens up new horizons for students, providing opportunities for study and work placements, and provides staff with opportunities for teaching or training. The operation of the summer schools is a strategic axis of development of the University of Crete. The academic excellence and geographical location of the University of Crete are effectively exploited for the development of such activities in line with the standards of internationally renowned academic institutions. The University of Crete stands by its students through a network of support services throughout their studies. The Library and Information Center of the University of Crete is a single service that supports the educational and research activities of the University of Crete and the wider academic community. Two modern buildings, in Rethymno and Heraklion, host its constantly growing collection. From the first years of the university's operation, many individuals, owners of remarkable private libraries, entrusted the university with their valuable collections, convinced by a climate of seriousness and trust. It is a member of national and international library networks and participates in Greek and European development projects. The university gyms of Vouts and Rethymno offer to students, employees, and teaching staff the possibility of free exercise in a friendly environment. The student community is very active, and thousands of events are organized by student clubs and cultural groups, both at the Student Center on the Heraklion campus and at the small student house of the University of Crete in Rethymnon. The University of Crete, through its museums, contributes to the reinforcement of collective memory and the promotion of cultural identity. The Natural History Museum of Crete aims to study and protect the natural environment of the Eastern Mediterranean with emphasis on Greece, as well as to raise public awareness of environmental issues. In its exhibition rooms, the natural environment of these areas is presented in an interactive and innovative way. It has the richest and highest quality natural history collections in Greece, which allowed it to join CETAF. The Museum of Medicine of Crete, hosted at the medical school, aspires to become an exemplary center for the preservation, research, and promotion of the history of medicine, from antiquity to the present day. The Center for the Study and Research of the History of Education and the Teaching Profession covers the corresponding research and teaching needs for the study of the documents of the history of education. The Museum of the Archaeological Site of Eleftheria, Homer in Crete, is the first museum of an archaeological site in Crete. Although smaller in size, it is equivalent to those of Olympia, Delphi, and Vergina. It was created to house the results of the excavations carried out over the last 37 years in the ancient city of Eleftheria. The University of Crete is an extroverted university that studies the world and society. The University of Crete Research Center for the Humanities, the Social, and Educational Sciences is an autonomous, integrated, and interdisciplinary research unit. It includes research laboratories, research programs, and postgraduate programs which are linked to one or more laboratories and the 3 faculties of the University of Crete. The Skinakis Observatory is located on Mount Ida, Siluritis, in central Crete. It is a joint research infrastructure of the University of Crete and the Foundation for Research and Technology, Hellas. The Environmental Atmospheric Observation Station in Finnakalia is considered representative for the Eastern Mediterranean region, having attracted the intense interest of the scientific community in the last 20 years on issues of atmosphere composition and quality and climate studies, and is the only one in continuous operation in the region since 1993. Siluritis Geopark is a natural observatory under the scientific supervision of the University of Crete. It actively participates in global efforts to protect and promote the environment, as well as the natural and cultural heritage. The University of Crete supports the development of independent research centers in Crete and maintains close links with many universities and research institutions in other countries. The University General Hospital of Heraklion is one of the most modern general hospitals in the country, where the clinical training of the students of the medical school takes place. Multidisciplinary educational, research, and clinical work is developed in its clinics, in a large number of medical science disciplines. The Hellenic Center for Marine Research consists of 3 research institutes: the Institute of Marine Biology, Biotechnology, and Aquaculture, the Institute of Marine Biological Resources and Inland Waters, and the Institute of Oceanography. A significant part of its research facilities are located in Crete, and it collaborates closely with the relevant departments of the University of Crete. The Foundation for Research and Technology, Hellas, was founded in 1983 and is one of the largest and best organized research centers in the country, with international recognition and highly qualified staff. The professors and students of the University of Crete form the backbone of the research network of the institution. The University of Crete is an extroverted and internationalized university. It is a pole of research, educational excellence, and innovation. It is at the forefront of the Greek academic map with outstanding performance in international evaluations. It walks along with society, has solid ties with its host country, and faces the international challenges of modern reality. The University of Crete is a vibrant and creative research and knowledge society worthy of the cultural heritage of Crete.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the introduction of Crete, these short video clips. The presentation of the University of Crete took some time, more than one we expected. But never mind, you got some ideas about our own institution. So now is the time for the two invited keynote speakers. The one with Dr. Asuka from RC Greater Inagoa, Nigeria. And I hope you will enjoy the first keynote speech, and then we will follow up with the second one with Dr. Barry Law from RC Otago, New Zealand. So now it's time to start the presentation of these two keynote speeches. So you are in a kind of online connection, and sometimes delays because you have to connect with, you know, the different. Okay.
I would like to greet all the participants in this conference. I am Professor Chuemi Tudo Asuka, Professor of Sociology of Education of the Department of Education. Foundations, Faculty of Education, Niger Delta University in Wilberforce Island of Bayelsa State, Nigeria, in Africa. My topic is Education for Sustainable Development as a subject and cause the national school systems for attainment of the SDGs. My task in this presentation is just to speak about the role education can really play in ensuring that sustainable development is done in all societies and communities and countries all over the world. That education is the key to enabling us sustain development. And that is because through education, we're able to inculcate in people and students, men and women all over the world, the skills that they require, the attitudes and character needed for sustainable development. And to be able to see why education is necessary, I want to also look at the present existential challenges that are related to the present 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And I take poverty. And I think that poverty is still a worldwide problem, mostly in countries like Africa and then Asia, and in some other third world countries in the continents of the world. Nigeria's per capita income is about $20.85, and then the population that is poor is about 87 million. Poverty is still very strong in Somalia, Asia, Somalia, Ethiopia, and Myanmar. And most poor countries in the world are in debt. Hunger is also a problem all over the world. About 5,000 children in northern Nigeria are in hunger. They are supposed to be suffering malnutrition. And this situation is caused by banditry, the Boko Haram, ISWAP, and then other terrorist countries that are fighting themselves and then the government of Nigeria. We will find that just the war in Russia and then in Ukraine, between Russia and Ukraine, has caused shortage of wheat in parts of the world. And therefore, countries like Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya now suffer hunger. The price of bread has risen drastically. Part of the problem of hunger is as a result of low yield in agriculture, which is also related to the problems of climate change. There is drought and then flooding. Flooding affects agricultural yields, and drought also affects it at the same time. So we have some serious challenges now globally in terms of hunger. Health is also a problem. Malaria, typhoid, and cholera are still problems in tropical African countries and some other third world countries globally. COVID-19 is still there as a threat, it's still a serious threat. And then monkeypox has become an added problem, threat globally. Ebola, cholera, polio are still problems. And then in some countries, there is also a shortage of medical personnel, even nurses. They are migrating to other countries, like in Nigeria. Nurses and doctors are migrating to Europe, America, Middle East, and then some African countries. Funding of health is also very poor. It was reported in Nigeria that about 4.2% of the national budget alone, was for health. And that is not even up to the 15% that was recommended by the AU. So health is a problem. Education is a problem. Access to education is a problem. Children, men, women, youths, adults, men and women, and then even some internally displaced persons do not have, access to education any longer in countries that are torn by war, and then some conflicts. And so, for example, in Nigeria, about 20 million children are supposed to be out of school. And India, Pakistan, and Nigeria have the highest out-of-school children all over the world. Second highest population of out-of-school children is Central and Southern Asia, with about 85 million too. Gender equality in terms of employment, in terms of income, places they work, and then in politics, their representation in governance is also skewed against women. Women do not have enough investments to go into businesses. They do not have enough money to play politics, to fund political activities. So there is male domination all over the place. Clean water is still a problem all over the world. In some third world countries, like in Nigeria, like I know, families and individuals have to go into self-financing to provide boiled water for domestic and industrial use. Countries like France and Spain now have a shortage of clean water because of drought. Energy availability is still a problem in the world. Most countries have electric power supply, and most businesses are run with generators powered by fuel. So in some of these countries, they lack the technology to go into renewable energy. And so energy availability is a problem. Full and productive employment is a problem. All over is still a challenge. Nigeria's unemployment rate is about 33%. And that is because most of the countries do not have leaders that have the ability to create jobs. Again, the education that people normally get do not give them the skills and attitude and character and creativity and innovation to be able to create jobs for themselves and also go into some bit of employment. And so it's a problem. And because of that, employment usually in some of these countries will be based on political connection, gender, ethnic groups, religion, and then bloodlines. And most countries lack, the ability to diversify their economies. Resilient infrastructure and industrialization, there are problems in third world countries because they do not have the relevant machinery. This machinery is very expensive. And so if they're not able to import them and use them, then we are not going to be good in providing industries. Even simple industries are not possible in this country where they would have been able to employ more. Corruption is also a problem. Technological know-how is lacking. And therefore, industrialization is a problem in these countries. We should have been able to give more jobs to people. The COP-MOC kind of schooling, garbage in, garbage out, that kind of schooling, we call it COP-MOC, which also leads to credentialing, do not allow people to acquire industrial skills. So the problems. There is still inequality among nations because of levels of technological development, and most third world countries were not able to key into the different pieces of industrialization. We hear that the world is now in the fifth industrial age, where technology is now used. Most countries are not into it. Sustainable, safe, and resilient cities are not also possible in most of the countries because of poverty. Safety here means peace in these cities. But because of rising crime rates as a result of poverty, banditry, and terrorism, and also wars, these cities are not very safe, and then they are not sustainable. They're not sustainable. So that's also a problem. And then climate change has become a problem of natural disasters all over the world. So most cities are no longer safe. Sustainable consumption and production patterns are not also very, very refined. Most consumption is still done without, knowing what tomorrow could be, and therefore saving is not done. In terms of consumption, you find that biodiversity is threatened. People kill the smallest of fish, the smallest of animals to eat most of the societies. Consumption is not sustainable. Production patterns too are affecting the society. For example, in oil production in Nigeria, gas flaring and then pollution of the airspace is a problem, which also causes health problems for children and then the elderly. So sustainable production patterns are not also there too. Climate change is already a problem. We are seeing it. We saw the flooding that is taking place in Pakistan that needs so much money, to make people become safer, and then to be able to feed themselves, to bring them back to normal life. That of Pakistan was a serious problem. Climate change is a problem, and we are not trying to reduce the amount of greenhouse gases all over the world, and so it has become a serious problem. The ocean, the sea, and marine ecosystems are threatened. They are threatened, and then most countries do not have the ability to sustain this environment. They do not have the skills to sustain this environment. They do not even have the character to sustain this environment. Like I said before, even the smallest of fish in some of these marine environments are bested and eaten because of hunger and poverty. And most refuge is done into this environment. The terrestrial ecosystems are also threatened. Most lumbering is done without regulation and supervision by governments that are in power. And therefore, there is little they are doing to conserve terrestrial ecosystems. Societies are no longer, in most cases, societies are not peaceful and inclusive. Most societies are divided along ethnic lines, religious lines, ethnicity, and things like that. So much has to be done to be able to restore global peace. We can see the gun violence and then wars all over the place. Let's now look at our definitions. What do we mean by to integrate? To integrate means just to incorporate the skills, attitudes, and character in education to be able to pursue and sustain development. Education here means the processes we use to inculcate necessary skills, attitudes, and character. National education systems are inclusive. They mean all the activities involved in educating students and students at different levels of public schools and different levels of governance. They also include our laws, regulations, and things like that. Sustainable development here for me, we'll just be talking about 17 globally agreed areas of improvement in the lives of humanity. And then attainment here means achieving or realizing. Subject, an area of study with the content containing knowledge and understanding, while course is a part or unit of a subject students are exposed to acquire diploma or degree. Now, there is a philosophy. For me, there is a philosophy about the concept of sustainable development. And this philosophy is saying that educational theories and practices must be appropriately applied in teaching and learning to inculcate in individuals necessary skills and attitudes and character to sustain and improve on present levels of development in societies, and that such attitudes must be perpetuated as a tradition. Why do you need education for sustainable development? And I discussed it by arguing, that that when I looked at the 27 principles of sustainable development, I argued earlier on in 2006 when I presented the paper that these goals, these principles cannot be sustained unless people are prepared educationally to be able to have the character and attitude for sustainable development. And because of that, I want to now discuss how we can approach the integration of education in sustainable development. And these approaches are three. Approach one is to integrate approach one is called integration within subject areas. How do we integrate within subject areas? In the primary and secondary schools, we call them subject areas that students are going to acquire the functional skills, the attitudes and character. And I'm saying that in this kind of integration, we are going to incorporate functional skills in pre-vocational and vocational skills, vocational subjects. And therefore, as the students are graduating, they are going to graduate with functional skills that they will practically put into use to be able to provide, to employ themselves, to create wealth for themselves, which means that through that they'll be able to eradicate poverty, hunger in their lives. And then the teaching and learning is going to focus on acquisition of practical use, and then industrial application. That means the skills they will acquire will be geared towards a practical application to create wealth and for industrial application. And then other character traits to be incorporated beyond acquiring skills. We are going to teach, moral values like love, honesty, perseverance, endurance, justice, selfless service, responsibility, peace, patience, humility, truth, hard work, integrity, and accountability. And all domains of education, talking about cognitive, psychomotor, and affective, must all be covered in this teaching and learning process. And teachers must inculcate in the students during the teaching process, and then should be able to assess and ensure that the expected learning outcomes are being attained. That is very, very important, so that we will not credentialing and certificating without ensuring that students have acquired the skills and then the attitudes we want them to acquire. And then I also want to advocate that the integration process should also go to non-formal education and training programs like adult education, skills training programs, training programs, and that at every point in time and anywhere some kind of teaching and learning is taking place, both character, both attitudes and skills must be acquired. And we also want to advocate that in the films that are presented and drama presentations, producers and songwriters too must be persuaded to be talking about good character and things like that. And then in the same integration within subjects, I also want to advocate that some elements of sustainable development must be used to design a subject area for the senior school levels, right at the secondary school levels. Then approach B is to design a course or two for higher education students in all disciplines. That is that in all programs, in all disciplines where students are enrolled in colleges, polytechnics, and universities, there must be 2 or 3 subjects that they must take in the area of sustainable development. And those attitudes and character that are needed for sustainable development. These courses could be 1 or 2 or 3, that all students in all disciplines, all over the university must have to pass them, must offer them and pass them. They must have pass grades to be able to offer, to be able to graduate. And then I've outlined the areas that the student must take the subjects from which the courses will be designed. I say technology for peace and happiness, science for happiness, wealth creation, good governance, and then I've also itemized the moral values that they are supposed to acquire skills. I also have been able to itemize the other topics that will be used for the design of this course, like meaning of sustainable development, issue of sustainable development, principles of sustainable development, goals of sustainable development, and need for achievement of sustainable development. Now, I'm going to the third approach. The third approach here is saying that we have to design a B.Ed program where students will be enrolled in education to acquire a B.Ed degree in education for sustainable development at the diploma and then the degree levels. These teachers will come after graduation to teach at the kindergarten, primary, and secondary school. And finally, I'm going to look at some necessary conditions that we need, some necessary conditions that must be in place in the schools, even in society, before sustainable development is possible. And these are going to aid in the education, quality education that we need. And the conditions are material resources, school plan, teaching materials, classroom furniture, work environment, teaching for functional and practical skills, power supply, implementation of educational policies, reduction of out-of-school children, adult education, women education, entrepreneurship education, youth employment programs, good governance, non-formal education groups, and then up to rigorous assessment for acquisition of expected outcomes. My conclusion here is that education for sustainable development is a key for world peace and happiness. It is meant to guide the direction of every development process with respect to the expected impact on humanity and the environment. It must be holistically pursued as a global teaching and learning agenda to create the necessary manpower to sustain development. Thank you for listening.
Kia ora, everyone. My name is Barry Law. I come from New Zealand. I have spent the last 30 years in tertiary education and youth leadership, exploring the successful elements of building capability and resilient learners. My presentation today explores three key concepts that I believe are essential in learning programs that develop capable and resilient learners. These concepts are emotionally engaged learning, being capable and having transferable skills, and also coping with change and creating change. Now, while these concepts are individually important, I also believe that they are interrelated, and especially if we are to have a sustainable future. They are essential concepts that need to be embedded in learning programs with specific, learning outcomes when learning programs and in assessment tasks. I'm going to take a moment now just to share with you my screen and a PowerPoint that will address these key concepts as we move forward. The first one is that emotionally engaged learning helps build the capability for change. So when I said earlier that they are interrelated, I think emotionally engaged learning is really important, but I think emotional engaged learning actually helps us build the capability for change going forward. So that's lining up all of those three key concepts as one major concept. But I'm going to actually address each of them individually. The first one I'm going to address is the concept of emotionally engaged learning. This is learning that connects learners emotionally, either through an event, a specific place, or through one's interactions with other people and their values and beliefs. Emotionally engaged learning also combines the concept of experiential learning. That's learning that is based in a particular setting, around a particular issue, and of course involves a lot of reflective practice. SEL is about learning through life, the concepts of life, but also socio-emotional learning develops the key concepts of empathy, compassion, mindfulness, and this comes back to that notion of reflective practice, being mindful of what's actually going on around you, what other people are saying, what's emerging from a particular event, and then being able to be to explore that critically through critical thinking and reflective practice, and actually making meaning of that going forward. So I think these concepts combined are really, really important. So I'm going to just highlight Schumacher's wonderful statement that if education is going to save us, it would have to be education of a different kind, and an education that actually takes us to the depths of things. And this is what I think experiential learning and socio-emotional learning does. It allows us to go deep into the learning, and to be able to unpack that and, as I said earlier, make meaning. So that notion of empathy, and being able to empathize with what other people are saying, to be compassionate, and that's acting with empathy, of course. Mindfulness, which I mentioned briefly before, is that technique which focuses one's attention on what others are saying, what's happening, other feelings, and doing that without judgment. And then that concept of critical thinking, which is the analysis of actually what's going on during experience. And if we line that up with the key concepts of experiential learning and reflective practice, one which opens minds, it challenges attitudes and values. Of course, that happens through that notion of reflective practice. It confronts other views and maybe helps reconstruct ideas. When we're in a reflective practice session with other people and we're listening to other points of view, it's important that we are actually empathetic, we're actually listening, and we're actually unpacking other ideas around particular issues that we might be discussing. And of course, it develops a critical consciousness, and it helps provide practical evidence of our capability in different situations. So often if we're in an experiential learning setting, and we're involved in reflective practice, and we're engaging in that really productively, then of course that's also evidence that we can listen effectively, that we can actually critically reflect, critically think, and take that learning into other key learning experiences. The next one, key concept, and this is going back to the three key concepts, is around what does being capable mean? And being capable is that concept of learning through life. But it's also about the transferable skills that people might have, and the transferable skills that allow us to be able to transfer from one particular, or to transfer our skills from one particular setting to another setting. And if in an employment setting, of course, if you've got a job and you've got a wide range of transferable skills, and you get the opportunity to shift employment into another particular area, maybe not directly related, those transferable skills can transfer across. And of course, the last key concept there is that capabilities are independent of skills. So capabilities are what gets you a job. You may have a degree, you may have a qualification of some sort in a specific learning area. Could be nursing, could be engineering, but the transferable skills are those skills that are independent of whether you're a nurse or you're an engineer, and that you can use in a range of different settings. Just trying to move on to the next slide. Here we go. So some of those, here's a list of some of those capabilities. So being able to work in teams, work independently, organise effectively, demonstrate resilience, think creatively, inspire others, practice ethically, think critically, solve problems. These are an example of some of the sorts of capabilities that I'm actually talking about. What I will highlight here is that in New Zealand, based around the research and the work that we have done in this space, we have established a concept called I Am Capable. And I Am Capable is a base framework of 26 capabilities with behavioural indicators that employers have said are important for work and for life. So these are not just focused on employment, they are also key skills for life. They will, of course, get you a job. And we've got behavioural indicators for each of those 26 capabilities so that it outlines what evidence and what capability, what it might look like. And I think I Am Capable has been established so that we can produce a profile of one's capabilities, and I'll show you a short video clip of that in the moment. What we've also done is we've also taken the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. We've also written those with behavioural indicators, and those behavioural indicators can sit alongside some of the capabilities that are identified in the base framework of the capability framework. You could also take some of the capabilities, you could also take, sustainable development goal or several sustainable development goals and look at the capabilities required to achieve those. And you could pull those together in a mini course and provide a micro-credential. So micro-credentials could be gained as evidence of one's capability, not only in terms of the base framework set of capabilities for employment, but also around and combining the sustainable development goals as well. So why are capabilities important? Well, they are essentially important for employment and they provide evidence of one's capability. They will also be important for you in life and becoming a good person, a good parent. If you become a parent, having a wide range of capabilities allow you to function really well in a community of people. So they're not just specifically for employment, they're also for life. But they're also there for the ever-evolving work environment and the changing work environment. And those capabilities are the transferable skills that you can transfer into different work environments going forward. So what does I Am Capable offer? And I'm going to show you a little video clip here that allows you to get a good understanding of what I Am Capable is all about. Hopefully that gives you a little insight into what I Am Capable is all about. It is an online tool and it is about recording your capability and having a platform where you can have a profile for employers with validated evidence of what you can do. So I won't spend a lot of time here on the actual benefits. You can see the key things that are there. It's around transferable skills. It's about connecting the right candidates to the right employers. It's also allowing educators to advance and keep track of their own professional development. Now, why I've mentioned that one is that we've actually got principals using this at the moment in schools. They're using that to track the capabilities of their professional learning teams, and they're also using it to determine what professional development is required for those professional learning teams. And also, if someone moves out of one of those teams and they're looking at putting somebody else into that role, what capabilities they might need specifically to support that team. So there's a number of advantages over the I Am Capable tool. But what I also want to address briefly is the concept of change and how capability is important for change. We've got a future with a number of issues, and that's around energy. It's around climate change. It's around the materials we use, how we recycle those materials. We've got supply chain issues. We've got a number of things that are going to come at people, and how to create the change we need for our future. I come back again to the concept of emotionally engaged learning, the importance of beliefs. We need to be able to help young people believe they can make a difference. We want them to be able to achieve and act on their beliefs as they move forward. But in order to do that, if you have no beliefs, you have no empathy. If there's no empathy, there's no connection. If there's no connection, there's no action. And if there's no action, there's no behaviour change. So part of the issue around having a sustainable future is that we aren't emotionally engaged. We aren't connected to what's going on. There is no action. We actually get no change going forward. So we need to understand the concept of behaviour change. We need to be teaching behaviour change, and we need to look at ways in which we can create an understanding of how young people can engage in change. I'm using a diagram here established by the Shannon Company in Melbourne. It's a wonderful diagram that connects and helps young people work through the concept of behaviour change. It's looking at what values that you have and what alignment there is around that, around a specific problem. It allows you to map what the issues are around those, your own particular values or beliefs around a particular issue, clarify what the real problem is rather than the symptom of the problem. An example of that is beach cleanups, where, you know, if you are involved in cleaning up a beach, you will often clean it up and then go back in 3 months and do the same thing because you're dealing with the symptom of the problem and not the real problem. So when we understand what the real problem is, we can then diagnose specific interventions to create the change that we want, and then evaluate those once we've actually put those interventions in place. What am I talking about here around interventions? I'm talking about customized interventions around a range of things. It might be a change in policy. It might be more leadership in that space around the change that you want. It might need more education. It might be about involving the community and community engagement. It might also be exploring it from a cultural dimension and looking at Indigenous ways of how they may have addressed particular problems and ways in which they've created change. And it's using multiple interventions to actually create change going forward. One of the key questions I often ask young people is, how will you map and identify issues? How will you clarify the real issues versus symptoms of issues? How will you diagnose the actual problem? And how will you identify the different types of interventions that will be required to address specific issues? And this is a way of actually engaging young people, again, in reflective practice around aligning their values and beliefs with the behaviours they need to have to actually create change going forward. Finally, as I finish off this presentation, I want to highlight a wonderful message by Bill Shannon, the CEO of the Behaviour Change Company in Melbourne. What we do is inspire people to change their lives willingly and for good. And this is not around behaviourism, it's around behaviour change. It's doing it willingly and for good. We're not forcing people to change, we're engaging them emotionally in the process so that they understand and make meaning of why they're changing changing, and the importance of that going forward in the community that they're in. I'm going to just stop sharing my presentation now and go back, if I can. Trying to see if I can get back. And finish off by saying that I hope my presentation today has opened up some ideas for you around how you might design learning programs going forward, especially the concepts of looking at building capabilities and learning outcomes that address capabilities in your teaching programs, how you might address the concept of behaviour change, and also how you might look at the concept of experiential learning and socio-emotional learning as a way of trying to create the change that you need going forward, or that you would like to see going forward. So I hope this has been a positive presentation and has highlighted some ideas for you to consider and think about going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for both presenters, Dr. Asuka and Dr. Law. They're very inspiring presentations. The one highlighting the problems and issues which cut across the 4 pillars of sustainable development, giving emphasis on the key role of education as an agent for transformational change. Change was a very important concept which was raised by both presenters. But of course, you can ask what kind of change. We need transformative change, we need to change our own habits of mind, to change the way you are thinking, behaving, and doing. So these key concepts were highlighted by both presentations in order to transform towards a more sustainable and just society. And the convergence of emotional engagement and experiential learning is very important. It's something which has been neglected, I would say, from current education. So, and sometimes we never ask questions related to these issues. So I think that these presentations, despite the technical problems we face with connectivity, because connectivity is a problem sometimes, but we have the videos for both presenters. We can see them again. We can reflect, and reflective practice, as pointed by Dr. Law, is a very important concept which has to be elaborated further in both teaching and learning processes. Since time is very tight, I don't know if there are any questions, or if Dr. Law, who is online, wants to add something, or if somebody wants to raise any question. But in any case, during our own discussions for the 3 projects that this conference focus on, it will be important to return and get feedback, which will guide us in our own thinking and the way we try to transform university curricula for building a sustainable society. So again, thank you very much, Dr. Law. Thank you very much, Dr. Asuka, for your kindness to participate in this meeting. Thank you very much. So if there are no questions, we can go on and I think no questions are raised, but I see in the eyes of our own participants here that there is a great satisfaction and from these presentations, and for sure these thoughts will follow up us in our own discussions later on. Thank you very much again. So now we have some time from coffee break, and then we'll continue with our project, the ICT enabled education for sustainable development, which is coordinated by Frederick University, and we have the partners from University of Crete and RC Crete, and we'll have the opportunity to present our results. We're at the end of this project, so it will be interesting to find out what has been achieved so far and how to go ahead. So just relax for the coffee break, and then we'll come back again. Thank you very much. Thank you. So Daxi. So now we're back after the break. And as I told before, we start from the Open University Malaysia team. In the presentation that deals with deconstructing, constructing, and reconstructing academic courses to address education for sustainability. And we start first with the case of Open University Malaysia.
Hi, Assalamualaikum, and a very good day to all of you. My team in Open University Malaysia will be presenting to you our project. The title is Deconstructing, Constructing and Reconstructing Information Technology Through the Lens of SDG. In this presentation, the focus is to present the processes, practices and outcomes for revising 10 selected courses at Open University Malaysia, considering 6 main questions. And as you can see on the slide, the first question is what question, and the focus on this description of the courses before revision, including why it was chosen for revision, the number of students attending the course, key content themes for the course, competence to be developed, a teaching method employed, and methods of assessing the students. The second question and third question refer to why, to justify the reason, to justify the reasons for revision, and where, to describe the gaps to be filled in the course through the revision process. The fourth question is the how question, describe the methodologies used for the revision and the course assessment during the implementation process. While the fifth question is the now what, the question that shows how the revised or updated revision of the course looks like and how it has changed from what was before. And lastly, the sixth question is the so what question that focus on discussing the challenges met to go through all the preceding processes from the beginning up to now and how has been tackled. As an introduction, the selected courses are, as you can see on the slide, the first one is community service. The course is for all of Open University students. It is the general course, and the course is meant to discuss the concept of community service project, the preparation of the proposal papers, and the characteristic of effective projects. And the purpose of this course is to provide an understanding and appreciation of the community engagement project. The second course, called Learning Skills for 21st Century Skill, this is a university course. The course introduces OUM learners to meet the demand of the 21st century and it focuses on the 21st century workplace expectation, basic learning skills such as numeracy and digital literacy, and the skills known as 4C, creativity, critical thinking, communication, and collaborative skills. It also includes global citizenship in order to gain better understanding of a diverse culture and environmental awareness in order to have a better future. All right, from a bachelor program of teaching in OUM, we choose 7 courses. The first one is ICT in education. This course enables learners to understand information technology and apply it in education. The second course from the program is Principles of Instructional Technology, which is focus on the concept of fundamental principles and practices of pedagogy and education. And then we also select arts in education. The course focus on visual art, music and movement, and all of which require imagination, expression, inquiry, and multiple intelligence to optimize and enjoy learning. And then the next course is teaching of preschool mathematics. Well, this course covers the content area of whole numbers, addition, subtraction, money, and introduction to time and shape, and also space. The other course also called Teaching of Elementary Mathematics, Part 3. The course in the program will help learners to acquire the fundamental knowledge and skills in the learning and teaching of Year 4 mathematics in primary school in Malaysia. The next course is School Science Curriculum. It's a core course for the program. The course enables learners to understand the basic science curriculum, issues in science education, the history of the Malaysian primary science curriculum, primary science teaching and learning methodologies, teaching science to all children, and also teaching science to children with special needs in this course. Okay, the second last for the courses is Pedagogy in Islamic Education. The course is designed to enable the students to define the strategies, approaches, methods, and techniques of teaching and learning of Islamic studies, Islamic education subject. And the last course that we choose is Introduction to Sharia, and this course is a core course for a Bachelor in Islamic Studies program. This course is introduced to the students, introduce the concept of Sharia, the special features and its application in daily life.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Nurazila Shafi'i from Open University Malaysia, going to present our next part, that is methodology DICO. The process of enhancing all of modules are based on DICO Plus, which is Visualis Makarakis 2017 introduced. The DICO is the abbreviation of deconstruction, construction, and reconstruction. Deconstruction is the process to analyze critically the functioning of personal perspective or habit of mind and choosing the curriculum units or module. Next is construction, is the process to gather resources, creating ideas and constructing new meanings perspective. And the last one is reconstruction, is the process of integrating newly construct knowledge in line with the construct frame of reference. Okay, integrating the SDG element, and we're going to see some example. Okay, the first one is Principle of Instructional Technology. CLO, the course learning outcome. By the end of this course, the student will be able to explain the basic concept and principles of teaching technology, and then applying the instructional design model in context of systematic teaching and learning, and then evaluate the instructional system for revision and improvement. In order for the course to be more diverse in terms of integration element of SDG in the learning objective to achieve, it needs to be aligned to the key indicate strategy in the SDG 4 targets as below. First, target 4.4 ICT skill in curricular and training program, and then target 4.5 enhance distance learning in conflicts and remote areas, and then target 4.6 mobile technology for delivering program, and then target 4.8 access to ICT resources in learning space and environment, and then target 4.C teachers with adequate technology skill to manage ICT. Okay, the next example is pedagogy in Islamic education. Okay, the first SDG to be embedded within this course is SDG 3, emphasizing on to ensure healthy life and promote well-being for all at all ages. SDG 3 was embedded as activity related to topic 4 in teaching fit in daily life, especially focusing on cleanliness in Islam. And next is SDG 4, okay, is mainly emphasized in this course. The teaching and learning of the course are aligned with the SDG 4 goal, which is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong opportunities for all. The learners are always reminded to include their discussion on education opportunities for all, including children with special needs as well as the marginalized populations such as Aborigines. This course also embed SDG 6, which is to ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation. For example, in the teaching for topic 6, learners need to discuss how they can play the role as Khalifah, vicegerents of Allah in managing the natural resources, including clean water. Next is SDG 8, which is promote sustain, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and produce employment and decent work for all. Is embedded as part of assessment and in final examination. For example, the learners need to explain how to use resources from the nature without harming the environment in their teaching and learning for Islamic studies subject. Okay, the course also emphasizes on SDG 6, which is to strengthen effort to protect and safeguard the world cultural and natural heritage. In the topic 5, the learners need to understand the importance of Jawi, Arabic writing, and appreciate the skill in writing Jawi as the heritage of the Malay community in Malaysia. The content through the learning activities has embedded 6 learning pillars for self-care development. That is learning to know, learning to be, learning to live together, learning to do, learning to transform oneself and society, and learning to give and share. Okay, we're going to see one example from community service subject. Okay, the first one, learning to know. This course explains the concept of community service, the importance of community service, implication of community service to individual, the discussion of the readiness and someone who want to be volunteer is also emphasized to the learners. Besides, this course also lead to the learners on volunteerism as a driving force to such sustainable development goal. Okay, by introducing the concept of sustainable development. Okay, next is learning to be. Through this course, creativity in developing community service project include maintaining the sensitivity of the local community and the group members and respecting the group members' view to implement the community service project and others successfully. Developing community service project related to the real problem and or problem that they daily face. And next is learning to do. Community service project to be carried out should bring high impact not just to learners themselves, but also including the group members and communities involved the project. Furthermore, values like accountability, cooperation, support, integrity, respect, and so on can be viewed in community service project which a high impact. For instance, the learners can choose a community service from the list given by instructor, such as community service at school or kindergarten, community service in the recreational area, community service in the orphanage, community service at home for all folk, community service at your workplace, community service during the marriage feast, wedding ceremonies, community service after the occurrence of disaster like flood and others, community service at the recycling center, community service at the animal shelter, various community service projects at the village, city, and national level. Next, learning to be together. Okay. Learning is not just about memorizing the fact that appreciation and applying what we have learned. It is even more important to be concerned about your surrounding and your way to living in the environment. One of the goals of carrying out community service activity is to foster a sense of love, togetherness among the individual towards the surrounding community. Okay, next, learning to transform oneself and society. The community service activity carried out together with create a sense of understanding and strengthen self-esteem in group. At the same time, activities implemented jointly in a community made up of various ethnic groups with result in a stronger sense to tolerance and strengthen the unity among the ethnic group. Next, learning to give and share. Community service activity will produce positive input to the self-development and each individual. Well-planned activity will create sense of consideration and love for other people, especially the disabled and elderly. Furthermore, community service activity also produce citizens of great heart who are patriotic and love the country. The course develop and expand skill in identify communities for targeted, sustainable and intervention. Okay, next, integrating the tenses. Okay. This is one of example of the subject, learning skill for 21st century. Some tenses can be mapped to the content in this course as follow. First one is communication, attending, such as attending the e-tutorial. Okay, and then creativity and innovation during preparing assignment, and then critical thinking, preparing assignment, connectivity, online class participation, critical reflection, reviewing through reflective journal, and then critical consciousness during preparing assignment. Okay, and another two example from teaching of elementary mathematics part 3 and school science curriculum. In summary, this element can be mapped to the content of these courses. There is communication, discussion in live forum, and then collaboration, group activities, creativity and innovation, preparing daily lesson plan, critical thinking in doing assignment, and then connectivities from group activities, and then critical reflection, reviewing daily lesson plan, and then critical consciousness, teacher role is using various sources of knowledge, and then constructing knowledge strategy in teaching and learning, and then cross-cultural competence using different approach in teaching. Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Zahri Hamidun from Open University Malaysia. Welcome to my presentation on DREAM methodology. DICOR divides content production into 4 stages. First stage, didactic profiles are analyzed. A training session action plan is based on training profiles. Second stage, the training curriculum follows the action plan and mixes theory and practice in topic modules. Third stage, comparing trainees' learning outcomes to their initial profiles and action plan aims and objective. Fourth stage, Learners' new abilities and knowledge are evaluated in the classroom. All phases of the training process are monitored and upgraded to ensure appropriate operation. Where is Dream in the core? The first phase of the core process at the micro level of content development involves conducting a needs assessment in order to collect information about the intended audience. The needs of the end user serve as an indicator for the next step in the construction process. The Dream approach. The first step in making a course is to figure out the level of the table of content and the type of content that will be broken up into modules, units, and topics. Then the topics that were chosen are put together using the Dream method, that is diagnose, review and reflect, explain, assess, and manage. In the instructional design process, Dream is one of the strategies that are thought about. The Dream method is based on the type of research called critical action research. Its goal is to evaluate and improve the course. With the Dream methodology, the teacher helps the student to make a portfolio that the students will give back to the teacher at the end of the course. Instructor must look at Dream portfolios and write a report for the class. The analysis of Dream portfolios will give the teacher and the students important information that they can use to make the course better. Dream findings on experience gained from the course. In one of the cases, all of the students found the course to be interesting and helpful in expanding their knowledge. The majority of them enjoy participating in activities in the course. As a result of the assignment, they are more aware of the sustainable development goals. They also learn how to apply the SDG in their daily life. They also look forward to the tutorial session. Those who are unable to attend can access the recordings of the e-tutorial session. The student also believe that the e-tutor is very helpful in helping them to understand the course. The nature of learning with MyInspire as a platform allows students to improve their ICT skills. As a result, the student became more environmentally conscious. Dream findings on impact of the topics from the course. In one of the cases, almost all the topics shown in the map were identified by learners as having the greatest impact on them. Dream findings on learning experiences, DLX. The map illustrates learning experience related to learner experience on undergoing the topic. The contingency tables here is for learning experiences. As the learner's response on LX1, they stated the course is very interesting. LX2, the course able to increase knowledge. LX3, the course difficult for working adults. And LX4, the learners enjoy doing activities in the course. According to the keywords stated by the learners on the themes they recall, practically all they acted on LX1, LX2, and LX3 connected to the SDG aspect. With all the findings, I can conclude that Dream methods benefits all content developers and students. With the Dream method, we can check and balance the quality of the content we want to deliver. Hope you enjoy my presentation. With that, I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zahari, for your insightful presentation just now. I hope the audience out there can see my slides. All right, now it's my turn to present to you on the impacts of the courses revised as well as one selected course. The 4 impacts of developments are the academic developments, the professional developments, social developments, and last but not the least, personal developments. There are 10 courses selected to be looked into to these 4 impacts. From the table, the impacts of the academic developments for those 10 courses had enriched the knowledge about sustainable development goals to our learners. Meanwhile, from the impacts of professional developments, generally our learners can apply the acquired knowledge in their work. Next, the social development. Our learners agree that they have learned to work in a team. Well, how about personal development? Yes, through this impact, our learners become more open-minded in accepting the knowledge of sustainable development goals than before. Now, of all these 10 courses selected from Open University, I would like to share my discussion on the impacts of the changes in teaching and learning process, specifically focusing on the 6 pillars of learning in the course selected, which is OEMH 1603, Learning Skills for 21st Century. The first pillar of learning is learning to know. Technology has changed our lives. I'm sure you agree with me, right? Yes, definitely you agree with me. Yes, social media is globalizing society. Our economy and technology are accelerating. Technology has permeated our job, our school, and social networks. Governments, schools, and large corporations realize that this and define important skills learners need to meet workplace and society needs. Second pillars of learning, which is learning to be. Learning is about discovery, not memorizing. Therefore, four core competencies of 21st century, which is popularly known as critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication are embedded in this course. These skills are intended to help our learners to keep up with the 21st century pace when doing learning activities. The third pillar is learning to do. Yes, learning to do. In order to solve a particular problem in real life, this course had enabled our learners to take up and had to apply a conglomerations of multiple sets of skills. Moving on to the 4th pillars of learning, which is learning to live together sustainably. Learning should involve implementing what we have learned. Even more important is that caring about our environment and the lifestyle. Human cause climate change affects air, water, soil, plants, and animals. Our lifestyles should conserve natural resources. Transportation, energy use, and nutrition changes can help. The learners should also be aware of political and economic globalization by forging a shared future that respects humankind's common value. Moving on to the 5th pillars of learning that impacted our learners through this course, which is learning to transform oneself and society. Literacy and numeracy are important, but we and all the learners must also focusing on issues like interdependence, cultural diversity, peace, human rights, and many others, okay, that contribute to contemporary global issues at local, national, as well as global levels. Topic 9. in this course, which is Global Citizenship Education, GCED, this topic helps our learners to grasp a diverse world or respond to the unknown with empathy, empower our youth to lead our societies, embrace peace, and stimulate civil involvement. Through topic 9, Global Citizenship Education, in this course, learners become more empathetic, adaptive, and tolerant of what is happening locally and internationally. Moving on to the 6th pillar of learning, which is learning to give and share. This course had developed basic learning skills and core learning skills, which is relevant for our learners in the 21st century skills. The right skills that will eventually help our learners in meeting the demands of the 21st century. After the revision of this course has introduced our learners to the workplace expectation in the 21st century by including relevant strategies towards becoming an autonomous lifelong learners. Moving on, let's look how the revision of this course, which has covered all the 4 pillars of sustainability, justice, and impacted our society. The 4 sustainability justice, which are the environmental justice, social justice, economic justice, and cultural justice. For instance, environmental justice, which cover the environment, its benefit, and the importance of conserving it, is in the topic number 10 after the revision. This is what we embedded the environmental justice in our course after the revisions. Same goes to the social justice, which have expanded our view from an individual perspective that is confined to us and our home to a collective perspective that concerns the global world as our surroundings. How about economic justice? Yes, economic justice have reduced the financial burden in combating environmental decay and increase the reserve and benefits. Finally, cultural justice, which has been embedded in topic 9, global citizenship educations, which have increased the awareness in environmental protections, minimalist lifestyles. And this cultural justice also being emphasized, being embedded in topic 10 as well in this course. Next, we'll be looking into the impact of this course after applying the 10 C's. However, due to limitation time that given to me, I will only select a few of these 10 C's for the purpose of this presentation. You may look into the discussion in details on the conference paper. Let's see one of the C, which is connectivity. How connectivity affects our learners. We live in the information age where the internet is vital to many people's life. The desire for information has become all consuming that many people multitask while in class or eating lunch, eating dinner, eating breakfast, and etc. Due to system overload, we do poorly when multitasking than when executing one activity at a time. Next, maybe another C, which is communication. Yes, communication. How will this course change or affect the communication of learners? Effective communication goes beyond fluency. To be a successful communicator, our learners need to know how to speak, how to listen, because communication is a very important 21st century skill. Now, let's move to another C, which is collaboration. Okay, collaboration is a key. Okay, it's a key of the 21st century learning skill. Today, Collaboration is emphasized over working alone to achieve more. Collaboration creates synergy, which means we can accomplish more, we can achieve more. This synergistic work through teamwork increases our productivity. Collaboration is the key of 21st century educational outcome. Working with people enhances learning and is essential components of personal and job success. Now, let's move to our final part. That is a conclusion. Okay. This course also shows the importance of the planet. It shows that the planet we live on is more complex and challenging. The one and only planet we live on, has become more interdependent and interconnected. Any actions that happen locally will affect our community, our city, and all over us. Therefore, we must understand each other, live as one global citizens, and prepare our younger generation to find the solutions to the challenges in this interconnected world on this planet. In this course, which is learning skill for 21st century, we do not only want our learners to acquire 21st century skills, but equally important is that they have the responsibility to act sustainably for our planet. With that note, thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum and good morning. Greetings from University Technology Malaysia. I am Zaleha. Our team will share our work on deconstructing, constructing and reconstructing academic courses to address education for sustainability, the case of University Technology Malaysia. My other team members are Zakia, Farhana, Azrina, Nurul Huda, Nurzana and Rosmawati. They will continue this presentation after I am done with mine. We are from the School of Education, Faculty of Social Science and Humanities at University Technology Malaysia, or in abbreviation UTM, whereby one of our core business is to produce teachers through our pre-service teacher programs. The title of our paper indicates some course revision has been done. Let's look at the rationale for revising the undergraduate curriculum. Our courses at the School of Education has been focusing on training pre-service and in-service teachers. The pre-service teachers are undergraduates whereby upon graduation will be teaching in schools. If they retire at 60, they will be in the teaching profession close to 40 years, meaning they can reach thousands of students to be educated as potential sustainable citizens. Therefore, it is important they are being trained on the basic concepts and ideas on sustainability justice and sustainable development. For that purpose, their courses that they enroll in our School of Education should expose them to the real world and surroundings and get connected to societal issues encompassing social, cultural, economical, and environmental justice that are propagated in SDGs. Unfortunately, these elements are not clearly stated in the course learning outcomes. With a little revision, these courses can become a powerful means to generate new teachers who can contribute in attaining SDGs. For the project, UTM worked with 9 other partners, as you can see in the map. 2 institutional partners from Greece, 1 from Cyprus, 2 institutions from Indonesia, 2 institutions from Vietnam, and 2 other institutions from Malaysia. Our programs aims at developing an ICT-enabled capacity building program to in-service teachers and teacher educators and turn them able to use innovative teaching methodologies and pedagogies orienting to education for sustainability. These are the specific objectives, 3 specific objectives. 10 courses were selected to go through for revision. Among these are general faculty courses, namely Educational Psychology, Basic Innovation, and Educational Technology. We have 3 courses offered from panel of Technical and Vocational Education. We also included 3 courses offered in the program of Sports Science Education and 3 courses from the program of Educational Technology. Each course is needed to integrate at least 2 SDGs. Most courses, however, embedded 3 SDGs. A systematic process was carried out for revising the curriculum. The revision process begins with training the academic staff who are the course owners. The figure shares a 6 stages capacity building model for training academic staff to embed sustainability in their courses, advanced by Makrakis 2006. Stage 1 involved in gathering trainees, didactic profiles to be used for stage 2 that formulate specific training sessions. The third stage is implementing the training using the content which merges theory and practice that were structured in thematic units or modules. The trainees' learning outcomes were compared with the didactic profiles obtained in stage 1 for the evaluation phase in stage 4. The same process of evaluation is continued for the final recipients, who are the learners, through transferring their acquired skills and knowledge to the classroom. This is the 5th stage. Finally, for the 6th stage, a system of monitoring and upgrading is integrated across all stages that help to sustain the proper functioning and possible upgrading of the training process. To embed the 17 SDGs in the course, the DECO Plus methodology, also introduced by Makrakis 2017, was adopted. The framework is an approach that sees curricula as living documents by adding a design process that focuses on transformative curriculum development. The 6 processes comprising DECO Plus are: first, diagnosing, which is associated with reflecting on who we are, what we have, where we want to go, and why we want to go there. Second, deconstructing, associated with analyzing critically the functioning of personal perspective and habits of mind and chosen curriculum units or modules. Third, constructing, associated with gathering resources, creating ideas, and constructing new meaning. Fourth, reconstructing, associated with integration of new constructed knowledge in line with the reconstructed frame of reference. Fifth, implementing is associated with carrying out the reconstructed curriculum unit model supplemented by surveys learning. Finally, we have the 6th process, that is finalizing, which involve reflecting and evaluating on what has been learned and changed. Next, the DREAM methodology, developed by Makrakis 2019-2022, has been applied for evaluating the revised courses during implementation. For diagnosing, data was collected to find out what students bring in class before the implementation of the courses. Next, during implementing the course, the instructor review, reflect and explain how the course were run and how students responded to the materials and activities. Finally, at the end of the course, the instructor critically assess the course and make efforts to manage the course more effectively. The course instructor evaluates students' portfolio, which is useful in informing to the instructors the strength and weakness of the course, as well as to think on what need to be improved. I would like to share also some important concepts for education for sustainability justice that we infuse in our course revision. These are the 10 Cs driven by ICTs, the sustainability justice, and the 6 learning pillars. The International Commission on Education for the 21st Century argued that education should be based on 4 fundamental learning pillars: learning to know, learning to be, learning to do, and learning to live together. These pillars provide maps of a complex world in constant turmoil, as well as the compass that will enable people to find their way in it, in their 1996 report to UNESCO. Later, UNESCO added the 5th pillar of learning to alter oneself and society. To address the need for fusing volunteerism, social activism, and learning, Makrakis believed the need to establish a 6th pillar of learning, that is to give and share. Here we have the 10 Cs driven by ICTs. The 4 Cs for workforce readiness in the 21st century, that is critical thinking, problem solving, communication, cooperation, and team building, creativity and innovation, have gained popularity over the past 10 years. Nevertheless, education must go beyond the emphasis on the 4 Cs to what Makrakis refers to as the 10 Cs enabled by ICTs in a world of rapid change that is heavily driven by ICTs, and the expansion of human knowledge, as well as the current sustainability crisis that threatens the very existence of humankind. The concept of sustainable justice, introduced by Makrakis 2016-2017, reflects the 4 pillars of sustainable development: environment, society, economy, and culture. Sustainability justice is perceived as a process which one seeks fair distribution of resources, opportunities, and responsibilities. Second, challenge the roots of oppression, exploitation, and injustice. Third, empowers all people to raise their voice, needs, and rights. And fourth, construct knowledge, empathy, compassion, social solidarity, and action competence. The concept of sustainability justice expresses an idea that must find its place in teaching, learning, and curriculum processes and practices. Thank you for your attention. Now I will call upon Zakia to continue.
Hi everyone, I'm Zakia and proceed to educational psychology courses. So in this course, we have infused 3 SDGs, which is quality education, SDG 4, SDG 5, gender equality, and SDG 10, reduce inequality. So how these 3 SDGs are infused in educational psychology course? First, for SDG 4, quality education. SDG 4 is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education, which can promote lifelong learning. And the aim of SDG 4 to ensure equal access for all students, especially in educational psychology course, regardless high or low status socio-economy, typical or untypical students, so that they affordable teaching and learning, and to eliminate disparities in gender and wealth in order to achieve universal access to a high quality higher education. For SDG 5, gender equality. So the aim of this SDG 5 infused in educational psychology course to value every gender equally, to progress at the right place. When a community reach gender equality, so that everyone enjoys the same privilege and get similar scopes in education and achieve good performance. So this is an important area which is to embed in educational psychology. So the course especially looking at the important girls and boys in receiving the best education. For SDG 10, reduce inequality. This SDG, the goal of infuse this SDG to address inequalities among countries, including those related to representation, migration, and development assistance. And also this SDG 10 could help students to understand policies that should be universal in principle, paying attention to the needs of disadvantaged and marginalized population in the world. Okay, next. So before the implementation of SDGs elements to this course, as this is the first time students came across the terms of SDGs, so lecturers need to explain in details the goals, and 2 separate lecture sections were made available to accommodate the explanation of SDG 4, SDG 5, and SDG 10 in the class. The preliminary review identified areas that require additional emphasis in terms of course development for integrating education for sustainable development, which is in specific, it addresses the 4 pillars of sustainable justice, the 6 learning pillars for sustainable development, and the 10 Cs elements in the class. Initially, the course did not explicitly mention the element of SDG before. So therefore, this is a need to revise this course by embedding SDGs to ensure issues related to SDG has explicitly been taught in the classroom to the student. So after the implementation of SDGs 4, 5, and 10 to this course, students are treated equally without gender bias and racism in the classroom. So this could lead to a peaceful and non-discriminatory society and human coexistence with the natural world. And there are an opportunity actively engage in different groups in completing projects and assignments, and also in a class activities. Second, after the implementation, students have a better understanding of the impact of environmental sustainability on the daily life, especially on SDG 4, 5, and 10. And there are also recognized the importance learning activities and the importance of SDGs through learning activities and assignments. And the third point, after the implementation, the lesson learned from this experience is that it is actually not impossible to incorporate aspect or element of SDGs in the educational curriculum and achieve the goals of sustainability development, especially in educational psychology course. Furthermore, the use of social media as a tool in the classroom also helps in the spread of awareness for all of the SDGs that mentioned. All right, that's all for educational psychology. Summarize of educational psychology.
Hi, I'm Azrina.
And I'm Farhana.
Okay, we will be presenting for educational technology courses. Okay, there are three papers for this course. The first one is paper 1, telecommunication and computer network course that address 3 SDGs. And then paper 8, educational technology course that also address 3 SDGs. And then paper 9, multimedia design and human computer interaction course that also address 3 SDGs. Okay, next. Okay, how these SDGs are embedded in educational technology courses. For SDG 3, students required to develop technology-based media education for good health and well-being. For SDG 4, it promotes lifelong learning through fair distribution over open and distance learning environment. For SDG 5, fair group activity between female and male students. And then SDG 7, students are asked to promote affordable and clean energy through social media. For SDG 10, students are asked to design instructional strategies that considering students with different abilities. For SDG 12, students learn about e-waste. And then for SDG 13, students are asked to create reflective video and share through social media, okay, about the climate action. And then lastly for SDG 17, students again are asked to create the reflective video and social media as a tools to help the community to identify issues such as copyright and also open educational resources. Okay, next.
Okay, these are the findings from the implementation of SDGs elements into our courses. Okay, before the implementations of SDG elements, the educational technology courses only made aware of students to keep up with the latest computer technology by upgrading or purchasing their computer equipment consistently, namely the notebook and also the battery. But after the implementations of SDG elements, students are taught not to only view technology from the perspective of constantly advancing in today's world, but to be concerned over the explosive growth and the rapidly escalating issues of computer e-waste that might lead to various public health issues, especially due to the landfills or primitive recycling operations. Okay, next slide. Most of the educational technology courses initially is pretty much theoretical, and the assignment is in a structured format following the course syllabus without the content of SDGs element. But after we implemented few SDG elements into our courses, the updated revisions of the course implemented the real-life authentic tasks that integrated with some of SDG elements in the course curriculum structures. The authentic task is also known as an authentic assignment. It is a task that provided to students to evaluate their ability to apply the standard-driven knowledge and abilities to real-world scenario. So in other words, a task is regarded as authentic when, first, students are required to design their own replies rather than select it from a list of options. And number 2, the work reflects the real-world issues. Okay, that's all from our part, which is educational technology courses.
Hello, I am Dr. Nurul Huda Ismail, and I will be sharing with you deconstructing, constructing, and reconstructing through the lens of SDGs for the theme Physical Education and Sport Science. So there are 3 papers under this theme, which is Teaching Methods in Physical Education and Sport Science, Outdoor Education, and Adapted Sport Education. So for all 3 papers, they have addressed at least 2 SDGs. For Teaching Methods, the course addresses SDG 3 and SDG 4, Good Health and Wellbeing and Quality Education. For Outdoor Education, it addresses SDG 3, Good Health and Wellbeing, SDG 6, Clean Water, and SDG 13, Climate Action. Whilst for Adapted Sport Education, the course addresses SDG 5, which is Gender Equality, and SDG 10, which is Reducing Inequality. So I will be explaining how these SDGs are applied within these courses through the process that has been conducted. Okay, so the first course is Teaching Methods in Physical Education and Sport Science. This course prepares students, helps them prepare to become teachers through learning how to write lesson plans, how to do team teaching, how to do micro teaching, and how to conduct reflections. So there are 2 SDGs addressed, which is SDG 3 and SDG 4 in this course. However, before the revision process, the SDGs might have been addressed only implicitly, but afterwards it has been set so that it is much more clearer which SDG is being addressed. For example, for the course Learning Outcome 1, which is to discuss and compare teaching approaches that are appropriate with Malaysian current education setting, it has been decided that this will address SDG 4, which is quality education. So the students will learn about different teaching approaches so that they can give good teaching to their students. And also the evaluation and reflection process, which is CLO 4, is also related to SDG 4, which is an important part of being a teacher. To plan and develop individual lesson plans and to apply appropriate teaching approaches, the content of these 2 CLO is related to health and well-being. So these 2 CLOs addresses SDG 3. So these are some of the photos that of the activities conducted for this course. So they did indoor team teaching. Okay, so this teacher for that day taught the students how to do CPR, and then there was outdoor micro teaching, and then there's also a session on public speaking, impromptu public speaking. So the lecturer will select one student and he will be given a topic, and he will need to present that topic impromptu in front of his friends. So this is indoor micro teaching and the reflection session, which is led by the lecturer. Okay, so in the end, the course has been divided into 4 different modules. So the first module is entitled The Framework of Teaching in Physical Education and Sport Science, and the second module is entitled Planning, Developing and Organizing Lesson Plan. The third module is micro teaching, and the fourth module is reflection. Okay, the next course that I want to share with you is Adapted Sports Education, and this is actually a very interesting course because it focuses on inclusiveness in sports. Okay, inclusiveness in sports. So this addresses SDG 10 and SDG 5, and after the deconstruction and reconstruction process, the course and outcomes have been changed to discuss and analyze various types of physical activity, exercise, or sports appropriate to the unique needs of each individual, inclusive or non-inclusive educational settings, and to ensure fair treatment and meaningful physical activity, sports involvement for individuals with special needs, regardless of their gender, race, nationality, religion, and family income, classification in maintaining a healthy life. Okay, so one of the assignments that were given to students in this course is a mini project in which they need to coach long jump to a blind athlete. Okay, so it's a simulated blind athlete. So the students are given in pairs. Okay, in pairs. One is given the role as the coach, and another one is going to be the blind athlete. So the blind athlete will be blindfolded. So the first thing that they need to do is they need to search for information related to sports coaching for blind athletes and plan suitable physical activities to train the blind athlete. After that, they need to document their activities as well as document any information that they have gathered in this logbook. After that, they will perform the long jump practice and training simulation, and finally, there will be a long jump competition for the visual impaired, which is to be a competition within students in the class. Okay, the final course is called Outdoor Education, and this is a very interesting course because it focuses on outdoor activity that you can do with your families or in educational settings, such as in camping, backpacking, focusing on survival skills, hiking, fishing, orienteering, first aid if anything happens in an emergency, and kayak. So before the process, these are the course learning outcomes, but after the reconstruction and deconstruction process, the course learning outcomes have been revised so that it includes several issues related to SDGs so that it is very apparent in the course. So for example, there's an inclusion of pollutants and human threats, environmental issues, different types of pollution and different threats to children, and also related to NGOs and how to achieve the SDGs related to good health and well-being, which is SDG 3, SDG 6, clean water, and SDG 13, climate change. Okay, these are some of the outdoor activities which have been conducted. Orienteering briefing, which is related to SDG 3, good health and well-being, as well as building a fire, which is related to SDG 13, which is climate action. Okay, one of the assignments that they need to do is to create a concept map, but this is not just a simple concept map. So the first assignment is an individual assignment, and the students need to relate a few selected SDGs and try to produce at least 25 concepts from these few selected SDGs. Afterwards, they need to combine all of the different concept maps into a group and redesign this concept map so that all of the ideas from assignment 1 are combined into one concept map. In assignment group 3 is they need to create a concept map with at least 30 concepts. So the tool that they need to use is either Lucidchart or any other suitable applications. So these are examples of the mind maps that has been created. Okay, that's all from me. Bye.
Hi, I'm Nurzana. I will share about the conclusion of these papers. My friend had explained previously the SDG that was infused in the courses and before and after revision of the course. Overall, the 10 academic courses in deconstructing, constructing, and reconstructing education for sustainability at UTM, University of Technology Malaysia, seems to be very successful. For all courses involved, there are 10 papers from us. 82% of SDG is embedded. SDG 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 until 17, okay, except for SDG 11, 14 and 15. The rest of SDG are covered in our curriculum, but for 11, 14 and 15, we are not covered in our curriculum. So we are mostly from education department. SDG 4, quality education, is the highest and most SDG in the courses. Educators and course owners did a very wonderful job of reconstructing the original curriculum into a revised curriculum based on the model and methodology that have been mentioned previously. So the 10 sustainability competencies have been successfully integrated into teaching. Alright, to begin something new, we encounter some difficulties, particularly when the sustainability features are not required by MQA, our Malaysian Quality Assurance. Therefore, getting students to accept the SDGs message is the most challenging part of adopting these new courses. Instead of completely embracing the messages of the SDGs, students are more focused on completing the course objective, and they avoid assignments, and their tendency more to earning good results. However, with the use of ICT and technological tools, students are better and able to understand concept and raise awareness of sustainability and the SDGs. At the end, they gain many new skills and experience after completing the assignments and fulfilling the course, such as digital skills and authentic learning experience. They go to the real situation, real experience, and they know the latest local issue. And also, they can have prolonged networking with the community and the local authorities. So from all the papers that have been presented, I would like to recommend the template for this construction and reconstruction and the evaluation instruments before and after intervention. They are all useful tools that can be applied to all level of education, not only bachelor's or degree, okay, but master's and doctorate. So it is also recommended that this project and this program be extended to other academic courses, other faculties, institutions, and school. So, I would like to say thank you to everyone for listening us. Bye.
Assalamualaikum and good day. We are from University Science Malaysia. My name is Aidi Ahmad Dewa and my colleagues Dr. Noraida and Nur Shazwana. So we are going to talk about deconstructing and reconstructing pre-service courses to address SDGs in University Science Malaysia, a practical approach. This will be the content of our sharing, introduction, methodology, result discussion, and impact and conclusion. USM has been aimed at improving the well-being of its citizens while preserving ecological, economic, and social harmony. This meant that the university has always been focusing on sustainability education as a matter of strategic priority. Tan Sri Zulkifli, our former Vice-Chancellor, has disclosed the sustainability concept through several actions. Thus, in 2000, USM has started the Education for Sustainable Development and a university as a living lab through the concept of Campus Sejahtera and a University in a Garden. The journey is continued when USM integrated 17 SDGs within USM's ecosphere through whole university approach. A total of 9 courses were selected in this project. 6 courses are teaching method courses on mathematics, science and geography. 1 course is compulsory course in a School of Educational Studies. 1 course is a university course which related to sustainability, and 1 course is a language course. The reasons for selecting these courses are: they involve 2 major streams, humanities or arts and science. They focus on other skills needed for a prospective teacher. They have content related to SDs and ESD. And also they have the involvement of a team member who is also the coordinator or lecturer of the selected courses. Next, my colleague will present on the methodology, result and discussion for the revision on the selected courses.
Thank you, Dr. Andi. I'm Noraida. I will explain about the methodology. In this project, we divided the methodology into 2 phases. Phase 1, we train selected teacher educators, that is the course coordinator, on ICT EEFS concepts. For the second phase, we developed the ICT EEFS modules using DCORE Plus methodology. So I will explain about what happened in the phase 1. So in phase 1, a capacity building model proposed by Makrakis 2006 has been used. This model is a 6 stages capacity building model for training academic staff to embed sustainability in the courses. We followed all the 6 stages and the process of reviewing the course syllabus as follows. At the beginning, we need to do the curriculum mapping. since this course already integrated sustainability concepts. The purpose of doing this was to make sure no overlapping sustainability concepts. For your information, USM already has sustainability elements in its courses. This phase, we have 4 workshops on how to infuse ESG enabled by ICT in the university existing curriculum, research and community engagement. The training also focused on disseminating knowledge about care learning designs, SDGs, 10Cs, 6 learning pillars, 4 dimensions of sustainable justice. Variety types of apps or software also has been introduced. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we conducted our training via online. The online training was interactive training. We have a lot of discussion on how to integrate 10Cs, 6 learning pillars, 4 dimensions of sustainable justice. They raised a lot of questions since this concept was quite new to them. We also distributed questionnaire to assess teacher educators' understanding about the training's content. After attending 4 workshops, the results show that our teacher educators have a good understanding on the concepts and know how to develop ICETEF's curriculum and ready as trainers in their faculty. They have enough knowledge and skills on ICTEFS. After finish all the phase 1, we move to the phase 2. To review the course syllabus, we use the DCOPLUS that was proposed by Makrakis 2017. What is DCOPLUS methodology? It is referred to deconstructions, construction, and reconstructions. According to him, the DCOPLUS methodology is an approach that sees curricula as living documents by adopting a design process that focuses on the transformative curriculum development. DCOPLUS consisted the following process. The first one is diagnosing, reflecting on who we are, what we have assessing knowledge, where we want to go, and why we want to go. The second, deconstructing, analyzing critically the functioning of the personal perspective and habits of mind and chosen curriculum units or modules. The third is constructing, gathering resources, creating ideas, and constructing new meanings, perspective. The fourth is reconstructing, refer to integration of new constructed knowledge in line with the reconstructed frame of reference. The fifth refer to implementing. So what happened in the implementing? Carrying out the reconstructed curriculum, unit or model, supplemented by service learning. And the last one is finalizing, reflecting and evaluating on what has been learned and changed. So in the phase 2, we use all the steps in the DCOPLUS. So new elements such as 10Cs, 6 learning pillars for sustainable development, and 4 dimensions of sustainable justice were added in the course syllabus in order to make sure that the quality is good. So we have 3 levels of quality assurance. The first level, we evaluate the review course syllabus internally by using our own rubric. Each members of the project need to evaluate the course syllabus. It is a peer-reviewed evaluations. After getting feedback, we did certain changes. Then we move to the second level. Here we have the external evaluator from other universities in Malaysia. And for USM, we choose UTM team as our external evaluator to review our course syllabus. The reason here is USM and UTM has the same characteristic which producing prospective teachers. Then finally, we go to the third level. In here, we have another external evaluator that is outside from Malaysia, which is from Frederick University. With all the feedbacks, we did all the changes in order to have the final draft of DCOPLUS document. Here, our new course syllabus will have several modules. I also like to explain about results and discussions. Because of this, we change our course learning outcome. with new course learning outcomes, the focus not only on students' final examination results that is in cognitive domain, but also on other learning outcomes that is psychomotor and affective domain. We also added several new topics to update our course content, such as education for sustainable development, sustainable development goals, and environmental-based teaching and learning. With this new topic, it is a hope that our pre-service teacher will have more knowledge and skills in sustainability. We also make changes on the assignment in which it more focused on the project. In addition, we included one ICT topic in the course, such as teaching strategies and integration of ICT and also digital learning. Thus, our students have knowledge and skills on variety types of apps or software and know how to apply it in their teaching. With the changes we made, we are able to implement 21st century learning framework. Our students will be active learners, since the purpose of the 21st century is transition from the industrial age to knowledge age. Thus, our pre-service teacher has been exposed and trained with the 21st century skills. As a conclusion, we make changes to make sure that the contents and approach of this course are up to date and relevant for our prospective teacher. However, the percentage of the changes were only 25%, since in USM, we are not allowed to change the course syllabus more than 30%. If there is more than 30%, it would need more time for approval because it required approval from the school's board and university senate. The approval process will take at least 1 year. So that's all from me. I will pass to Ms. Swazana. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Noraida, for a brief explanations on the methodology, results, and discussions. My name is Nur Shazwana Binti Hamzah, and I will proceed to present on the impact and conclusions for our presentations today. Okay, now let's look at the impact of the revision in the subject or disciplines of the course revised. From the process of deconstructing and reconstructing pre-service courses, our team has developed 9 modules for the selected pre-service courses. The 9 modules are PGT 212E, which is the Mathematics Teaching Methods 1, PGT 312E, Mathematics Teaching Method 2, PGT 223, Geography Teaching Methods 1, PPG 316, Geography Teaching Methods 2, PGT 315E, Biology Teaching Methods, PPG 210E, General Science Teaching Methods, LSP 300, General English Language, PGA 103, Teachers, School and Society, and last but not least, WSU 101, Sustainability Issues, Challenges and Prospects. As mentioned by my colleague at the first stage of the presentations today, WSU 101 is a university course related to the sustainability. LSP 300 is a language course. PGA 103 is a compulsory course for the School of Educational Studies in our institutions, while the remaining 6 subjects are teaching method courses. This is the example one of the module after the deconstructing and reconstructing process had been done. In this module, we specify the details about the course such as the descriptions, the learning objective, learning outcomes, and etc. In this module, we also integrate the SDG elements and the use of various ICT applications in the assignments and activities. This module also has been revised by the internal and external evaluators, as mentioned before by Dr. Noraida Yaakob in the previous presentations. The second impact of the course revisions are the changes in the teaching and learning processes. By infusing ICT EFS in the selected courses, the course instructor reviewed the topic and infused the SDG concept in the curriculum. Besides, they also learned to use the various of ICT application as teaching and learning tools in the subject. Example of the application that we use during the teaching and learning processes are Google Docs, Google Slide, Google Sheets, Screencast-O-Matic, Kahoot, Padlet, Quizzes, Kaggle, and many more. Next, we will look at the impact on the study program on the student itself. During the implementation process, we applied the GRAIN methodology advanced by Prof. Vasilis Makrakis to evaluate the course content from the student perspective. This process covers the whole spectrum of the course, which is in the diagnosing phase, we identify what knowledge does the student have before they learn about these courses. The second stage is review and reflect. This process takes place when the student have completed half of the total lecture for the semester. Next is the explain stage, where this is the follow-up question from the second stage. In this stage, we require the students to explain why their expectations on the course have not been in a way they expected. The assess stage is completed at the end of the course, which looking at the impact on the student's development. And finally, the last phase is the manage stage, where the student explain on how they can apply the new knowledge that they learn from the course in the future. Apart from that, in DREAM 2.0, the students are required to do a concept maps of SDG and its connectivity to assess their knowledge on SDG and so on. As we can see in the video, the students discuss among themselves on how to do the concept map and its connectivity in a group. Based on the DREAM evaluations, we identified that there are 3 themes that have been emerged on the students taking the selected courses. By learning the new modules, the student knowledge has been increased, especially on the education for sustainability, and develop their future thinking, especially on how to infuse EFS in the school curricula using a various ICT application when they become a teacher in the future. The second impact is on the self-development. By taking this course, we equip the students on hands-on activity which require them to do a simulated teaching using ICT and infuse SDG in the course content. This will help them in maximizing their full potential to be a good, effective teacher in the future. And the last theme is on the social development. The student also indicated in the interview that they have planned to involve in the community service activities. They want to contribute to the society, especially on the EFS project. And they also believe that they can create awareness on sustainability issues and be proactive on sharing those issues and taking actions with the society to achieve SDG 2030. Finally, let us look at the impact on the university policy and wider community. Our institution has developed its own sustainability policy, and by infusing EFS and ICT in the course curriculum, we managed to align the aspiration of our institution in achieving the SDG 2030. Apart from that, the content of the module also aligns with our state government policy on empowering the society to identify and to combat the current environmental challenge to the state. For the impact to the wider community, we managed to empower the students who are taking the course to convey the sustainability issues to the younger generations. For example, as IPINA have organized an online program on SDG where the students become the speaker of the program and they convey the message of the sustainability issues to the school children. As a conclusion, the revisions and improvement of the existing curriculum have provided the pre-service teachers with adequate information and understanding on how to infuse SDG concept using ICT. And these are my team from University Science Malaysia. Last but not least, this project is funded by Erasmus Plus Capacity Building for Higher Education Program of the European Union. With that, I end my presentations today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. That's us.
So I have until 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, yes. Is it here? We can see.
Okay. Okay, everyone. That was very good presentation for the work that has taken place over 3 years. So let's give a round of applause for the great work. All right, my role now is for the discussion. And I know there are many questions that you would like to know or to ask. So just before we go to the discussion, I would like to invite Prof. Makrakis to just give a very short summary of your impression of the presentation. Over to you, Prof. Makrakis.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very happy for all the presentations. Very well structured, and I have seen progress since the last time. And the progress is that now the visibility of SDGs. You remember we had discussions previously that initially, although implicitly SDGs were in each course, they're not explicitly. So I see now that the connection is clear. Also, I see that the key concepts we have discussed during the training sessions, like the learning pillars, the 10 transversal skills, are in the content of the courses. So I think we are in a very good way, and the reason why we asked to summarize all the papers in one presentation is to give the broader outlook of each partner university, their contribution to reforming curricula. Because this work is about reconstruction. Reconstruction means transformation. So through our own tools and training sessions, we have achieved now the methodologies of how to deconstruct, construct, and reconstruct our courses. And I think this work should not only focus on the project itself. It has to be expanded to the whole university. So it's in your own hands to disseminate this work to the other colleagues within the universities in order to make a wider contribution to a whole institutional approach to your own universities. And at the same time, through dissemination, we will try to have regional impacts, both within the public countries, but also in the region. So this is one of the key issues that the external audits finally will look into. They want to see what would be the impact of this work, not just for the courses themselves, but for transforming the institutions into sustainable universities. and transforming the way we are teaching, we are thinking, we are behaving, but also on how we construct the curricula. So as you remember, curricula is something living, not static. So it's always under the process of the construction. So thank you very much. I have no specific questions. I will follow up, and come up to you with some ideas of how we can benefit, scientifically through this work. So thank you very much again, and I give back the word to our colleague Munira if there are questions or any other comments raised by the panel or by those who are, listening to us or seeing us from outside. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Vasilis. So and I'm sure everybody has seen from the presentation, we could see that we are different institutions working separately, but there are impacts that we shared. So for that matter, I'm sure there are many questions. So I would like to open the floor for questions now. Yes, Professor Ali.
I just would like to ask to Professor Kraki's collection of the for the purpose of dissemination. Are you going to share to all the university partners? Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, we said. Yes, Dr. U.
Hello, thank you, Prof. Munira. Thank you, Prof. Munira, Prof. Makakis, Prof. Nelly, and distinct guests. I'm U from OUM. I have one question each to UTM and also our friends from USM. Okay, my first question to UTM is, I think one of the presenters mentioned that there are 3 SDGs not infused in their courses, which is okay. I have the first questions to UTM. One of the presenters mentioned that there are 3 SDGs not infused in their courses, such as SDG number Goal 11, which is Sustainable Cities and Communities, SDG number 14, Life on Water, and SDG number 50, which is Life on Land. Why these 3 SDGs not infused in the courses selected? This is my first question to UTM. And my another question to USM is how the four sustainable justice infused in one of the course that's selected, because when the panelists presented the pillars of sustainable justice is not mentioned. Maybe my USM counterpart can share with us maybe in one of the courses how the sustainable justice infused in the courses selected. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, in the interest of time, can I collect questions first? At least if you have a few more questions, okay. Yeah. Yeah, just give me 1 minute. I would like to write this down. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So we have 2 questions from Dr. Uy, one from UTM and one for USM. And Doctor, I have your question.
Yes, please. I'm Muhammad Ramzi from Heliopolis University.
Yeah.
My question is to Dr. O,
okay,
the presenter. He mentioned that we have like 4 modules for the 4 pillars of sustainable development. Addressing each one of them is addressing the sustainability justice, like the economic justice, the cultural justice, the societal justice, and the ecological justice or the environmental justice. but there is no like another separate module for addressing the four of them together as sustainability justice concepts is calling for. So why there is no like an additional one for balancing the four of them, which is the main idea behind sustainability justice.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ramzi. Yeah, so we have another question surrounding sustainability justice, this time for Dr. Uy. All right. Can I have two more questions? Is there any other question? Okay, in that case, we'll take turn. All right, so now we have the first two questions for UTM. The first one for UTM about the 3 SDGs, yeah, 11, 14, 15, and those that are not included. So could the UTM team respond to that question?
Thank you, Dr. O, for your all right, UTM, like USM, okay, we went through the same training, okay? We went through the same same process. Even though, okay, we did not explicitly put in our module, in our question outcome, the SDGs that we said RBC, which is sustainable cities, SDG 11, SDG 14, life and water, and SDG 15, life connectivity. But okay, actually, we noticed that it's there. Okay? It's not SDG, but it's implicitly there. Okay, we cannot separate our life from life. Okay, when we have outdoor education, of course, we do other activities on the land or involve water. So it's there. And also, okay, we have to consider that for UTM, not more than 20% of the cost and outcome should be changed. So that is why we see that this. So it's overlapping is there. So it does not mean it's not there. It does not appear on the list, doesn't mean it's not there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Zaliha. Right. The second question is for the USM team. Is on how the team infuse sustainability justice in the selected modules. Yes, Dr. Noraida.
We integrate by using activities. Because we want to measure diversity culture, so we concentrate, for example, in the group activity, at least we must participate. Even though they are different or race or color, we must do the activity with different backgrounds. Usually we use the class to integrate topics.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Noraida and the USM team. And now, Dr. Uy, it's your turn to answer question from Professor Dr. Ramzi. Is on the separate modules. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ramzi, for the very insightful question to me, and I'm eager to answer your questions. Okay, first of all, you mentioned that why, if I may get it right, you mentioned that why 4 pillars of sustainability only embed in one of the course, right, which is the OEMH 1603 learning skill for 21st century. Okay, right. This course, actually, because due to the time of the conference, I only select this course. In fact, there are 10 courses from OEM. These 4 pillars of sustainability is infused in our curriculum after the revision. Firstly. Secondly, it's not only infused in the module, but also in assessment. For example, for OEMH 1603, learning skill for 21st century, It infused in the in the module, but also in the assignment itself. For example, let's take a look on the environmental justice. It infused the module 10, topic 10 under environmental and earth in the paper as well as in the assignment, because this particular course no final examination. Other than the OU English, another course that infuse 4 pillars of structural justice is also community service. As what we know, community service is for the community, from us to the community. So this course is also embed the 4 pillars of structural justice and other courses which my colleagues also revise and infuse to the curriculum. I hope I answered your question. Thank you very much. Back to Prof. Mia. Over to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. While waiting for other question, I would like to ask a question from all the presenters. As Prof. Vasilis said, we have seen now is that the work that we are doing, it takes the direction of it goes into our own curriculum. Despite the challenges, for example, the Malaysian team, we cannot change more than 30%, but there are changes happening. And Prof. Vasilis has correctly said that we should also be thinking of how to advocate it to our maybe other courses or also to our university. So how do we approach this situation? So can I have some thoughts on this from all the team members and also from Prof. Vasilis and Prof. Nelly?
If I understood, your question is by what means you have to disseminate it to the whole university?
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, first of all, within your faculty, because I mean, within your faculty, you have to discuss it with other colleagues outside of the project, because you have other colleagues in your own faculty who are not part of the project, because sometimes they might know nothing about the project. Okay? Or what did you have done? So you have to have an information session, you know, with your own faculty at the faculty level, to bring it also to the administrative bodies in your own faculty, those who are taking decisions, because our work should have also an impact at the policy level, because without at the policy level, you cannot make things happen, you know, in your own, you know, institutions. So the connection of curriculum with policy is very, very important. Then the next level is from the faculty to the other faculties, because and then I think what you have to show to the others, especially to the other disciplines, is that interdisciplinarity perspective. I think interdisciplinarity is mostly practiced in the field of education, because it's pieces from every subject. You know, you have let's say staff from different subjects, of course, at a different level, for different purposes. But this is a way to show how to connect the various disciplines, you know, and in their own work, this issue of interdisciplinarity and of course disciplinarity is very evident. So this is another way of how to export, you know, in quotations, to other faculties in your own university. And of course, for the policy level, you have to go to beyond the faculty level to the central administration of the university. Those who have the responsibility for the whole university. You know? I don't know, each institution might be different from the country. It's for us in Greece, it's the Senate group will know, if you know about the Senate, representatives from each faculty, and all these have it's a decision-making body, for informing or whatever policy is taken for the whole university. So, to summarize everything, is connected your academic work with the policy, in order to make it more visible, and of course to see if to apply this for transforming your institutions, at the whole, in a political way, to say it that way.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much, Prof. Basilius. That is so. Could we have thoughts from the other members of the floor too, from other universities, from other partner universities? From no, we had presentation from the Malaysian universities, but we could also have some ideas and thoughts from our colleague from Vietnam and also from Indonesia. Any thoughts? Any ideas that you would like to share? About, the idea is how to connecting the curriculum to the policy, right? And also to export the word, that's to also other interdisciplinary, to other faculties, and also to connect to the decision-making body in the universities, right? So just as a quick note, because we have about another 8 minutes, it is a 40-minute session, yeah? But can be shorter, all right. So can we have some last words from our participants? Yes, Dr. Huang.
Hello, participants. In terms of connecting the curriculum to policy, I absolutely agree with President Macron. It's very important. Like in case of our university, we have the participation of more than one department and school. We have 5 department and school joining this project, and we have representative course from all of these 5 school departments. And then we got first we got to we had to get the course from the manager of all departments. And we think that this will be a process, not a destination by the end of the project. And we will have some demonstration. Like school and departments will have an example for the cost division. And so later we can concept example, and we will have value dissemination and transfer to the department. So that sounds very comprehensive.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Hua. All right, I think as a last word, I have seen from the presentation from the Malaysian partner universities, we have seen some success stories. Besides that, in my own opinion, in my humble opinion, it's important also to acknowledge the challenges that we went through, especially the added challenge during the project during COVID-19 pandemic. And also the different system, the different research implementation system according to the different universities. that's why I really like to connect also to the keynote we have earlier in the morning about this emotional approach and the resilience. And I believe we, under your leadership, Prof. Vasilis and Prof. Nelly, we developed the resilience, we developed the patience to actually carry on despite, even though we see a lot of success stories, we see impact, we see our enthusiasm to connect to the policy, to the curriculum. But having said that, it doesn't mean it was smooth sailing. It was very up and down, a lot of, it's like sailing, it's a lot of challenges. So I suppose we should also give ourselves a big round of applause, and also thank you for the leadership of the program. So can we finish like 4 minutes early? So unless anyone, because if do you have something, anyone who would like to have the last word, then we can end the session for lunch. Yeah, Dr. Noraida. Dr. Noraida, kuat sikit. Malaysia Ministry of Education. Okay, actually the concept of sustainability is already there. So with this project, actually we empower the teacher. We also give them a new knowledge about the tendencies, the significance, and also for the more sustainable justice. So this is the new thing actually for the teachers, because the curriculum in secondary education is already there for the sustainable. So I think this project will empower them and also enhance the of the sustainable concepts. Okay, thank you very much. So, yep. Is there any other last word for this morning and afternoon session? Yes, Professor Irfan.
From your conclusion, it's
some benefit already seen. Is there any that you can see that it's already somehow spread to the other faculties or the policy makers in the university regarding our work or expanding our work into other part of curriculum? So to all the Malaysian group, it's not particularly to some of the university.
Whether it has now transferred to the national education policy.
For example, from the level of university, whether some policy already adopted from this book, for example.
Okay. Okay, I can only answer for USM, so, and my colleague can add, and also my other friends can add from your various universities. Okay, USM is rather unique because we started the journey a long time ago. For example, even in research, even when students undergo their Viva Voce session, they have to determine which SDG is being addressed in this particular research. So that has to be written. That is not exactly from this project, but having this project, in my opinion, somehow enhance the issues. For example, some people will say, okay, we will do SDG 4. But with understanding now, we see in education, it's not only SDG 4. Many other SDGs are also embedded for us who train teachers in education. Before, it was always SDG 4, right? Now we understand it has very wide meaning, wide application. But maybe my colleague might like to add for the case of USM. Could any of my colleagues from USM add? Yes, Dr. Ada? Yeah.
as from mentioned just now, from the aware of this, that this actually from her policy and recently and then it comes for the rest of
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ada. And what about my colleagues from OUM and also UTM?
Okay, on behalf of my team, actually the issue of sustainability is actually being embedded in our one of the curriculum under Bachelor of Political Science on the course of Political Development and Third World Politics, in which in that particular course, I wrote that module, I wrote that topic under topic 10 Global Challenges. I embed the SDG, but realizing that the importance of sustainability is not just for the Bachelor of Political Science students. And in 2018, I was personally sent by the universities to train in Seoul, Korea, under the UNESCO Unity Project on the importance of ESG and SDG itself. Then subsequently, a year after that, our former presidents replaced one of the compulsory courses for our first semester students from learning skill of ODL learners to 21st century skill. Learning skill for 21st century, in which topic 9, topic 10 emphasize on SDG. The courses also emphasize on some other the forces itself. So the sustainability skill is not just about for the particular batch of students, but it's for all because of the importance that they have discussed since the morning until now. I think that's the view from OUM. Go over to Prof. Mira.
Thank you very much for that sharing from OUM, and perhaps you can have some sharing from UTM.
From UTM, I just share what I am aware. Okay, I think for many years already, UTM they have what we call as the Center for Sustainability, and in that center, okay, they organize activities like recycling day, and then it's more towards extracurricular activities for the undergraduates. And then there is also an SDG, a specific SDG course related to environmental education that is being offered by the Department of Office. And those offers, especially like myself and my colleague here, since we are already doing trained about SDG, we try our best to incorporate SDG in our courses. Like when I am teaching statistics for educational research, I will try my best to engage to introduce the SDG concept. Dr. Masuda, she is teaching teaching methods in math education. We also so it's up to the awareness of the individual instructors. But I think it's a very good idea if we can disseminate SDG to the community level and then to the institutional level in a very more organized manner. We are looking forward to that kind of mission.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Zaleha, sharing the situation in UTM. Is there any other last question? Does somebody has a burning question that you have to ask now? If not, you cannot eat lunch. Please do.
In fact, it's lunchtime without lunch.
That's right, yeah, I know.
Why so? When I got information from the hotel, they told me that for so few people, for logistic purposes. It's not viable. We have to organize lunch, you know. That's why they have shifted to dinner. No? So in any case, the other reason is that, of course, you know, unofficially, if we had heavy lunch, it would be lazy. But in any case, I mean, it's the time now up to you can go out, rest, or pick up a sandwich, something you feel. So there are, even outside the hotel, there are